Imagine being able to touch the lives of people you'll never know, 10 years, 50 years, even 100 years after your death. That is precisely what Jeannette L. Musgrave did with the formation of her foundation in 1984. From its inception through 2003, the foundation has awarded grants totaling more than $5 million to select charities in the Springfield, Missouri area. The Foundation Grant Committee asked that this video be produced so that many years in the future, Grant Committee members will know a little bit about this remarkable woman and what she stood for. You'll hear from the people who knew her personally and witnessed firsthand the loving compassion that filled her life. Born in 1901 in Fort Scott, Kansas, Jeannette L. Musgrave would later marry Edward F. Musgrave of Ash Grove, Missouri, a prominent dentist for many years in Springfield. She would become his assistant in the dental practice, beginning a lifelong love of nursing and health care. Dr. Musgrave inherited a sizable sum from his family's oil leases in Oklahoma and Texas, which passed to Mrs. Musgrave upon his death in 1970. Having no children, Mrs. Musgrave formed her foundation in the later years of her life. Those who knew her say there were three primary areas that she felt deeply committed to.
If I had to list the concerns kind of in order of priority, first would be youth. Always a concern. I don't know whether that came out of her own childhood, in which I think there was perhaps some want, but it also came out of a tenderness toward children, and she wanted to see the underprivileged child given opportunity.
The second priority was her passion for helping people with scholarships so that they could better themselves and be a positive, contributing member of society. She had a particular interest in helping young women enter the nursing field through the establishment of scholarships.
It was obvious that she took an interest not only in nursing, but many of the aspects of charitable institutions in Springfield. Of course, I guess one of the main ones was the Girls and Boys Clubs, who she sponsored and helped very much. But we were lucky, and the nursing school was fortunate that she was interested in nursing and helped with many of them. And they were all proud to be, of course, associated with Mrs. Musgrave.
The third area was providing economic assistance to the elderly, as evidenced by her support of the Southwest Missouri Office on Aging and many other charities which provide services to seniors. Other examples of nonprofit agencies that have benefited from the Musgrave Foundation are Boys and Girls Town of Missouri, Boy and Girl Scouts, the Springfield Community Center, Discovery Center of the Ozarks, Springfield Public Schools, Council of Churches, The Kitchen, Victory Mission, and Dickerson Park Zoo.
Well, the Musgrave Foundation has been an important part to the whole community, especially the zoo. They've been very valued. The Education Administration Building was really our first big project at that time that we had taken on. It was somewhere around $1 million project, and the Musgrave Foundation was the lead donor for this project. So it was very, very important to Friends of the Zoo and Dickerson Park Zoo.
Mrs. Musgrave was most interested in helping those who needed a hand up, not a handout. She was interested in giving people the necessary tools to better their lives. She was keenly aware that there were people not served by the public support network who would fall through the cracks. Her interest was in helping them get back on their feet so they could return to self-sufficiency.
There's some people that it's hard to help, or maybe I would say almost impossible to help. And yet there's some people that just need a little push or a little help. And she was always looking to try to come up with somebody that she could better their life by giving them a little hand and then letting them take over and do for themselves.
Well, I think she was acutely aware and had been made aware of the fact that the social system, even as thorough sometimes as it may seem, leaves a lot of needs unmet. And they were critical. Sometimes health needs, prescriptions, maybe just a car full of children and the car broke down in your city while they were in transit with no funds to get it fixed. And she would see that as people falling through the cracks that the social system wouldn't address. And she actually established funds for that, first through the Council of Churches, maybe in some other means too that I'm unaware of, for setting aside funds just for people who, quote, fell through the cracks.
The Victory Mission Trade School is another positive example of Musgrave Foundation funds being used to help people become productive members of society.
Yeah, with Victory Trade School, we have room for 16 students right now. Obviously, in this dorm room, each student has the drawers, a locker, and a bed, and they are involved in their studies and involved in work. They are scheduled to work 5 days a week, and they have class 5 days a week, 2 times a day. So it makes for a very full life, and it also gives you something to look forward to as you get to graduate and have a better opportunity to get a decent job.
As those who knew Mrs. Musgrave, it is our hope this video will help as a guide in knowing what was in her heart so that future Grant Committee members can make decisions that are within the framework of her compassion for others.